convoluted mess of a map that Gary and I had for Maniac Mansion were well-structured puzzle dependency charts, where you could look at the entire flow of the game in a quick glance. Now, it's easy to look back at games like Maniac Mansion or Monkey Island through this lens of nostalgia. It's easy to look at what they became and make assumptions about what they were before they were anything. But for us, Maniac Mansion was just a game that we spent long months of late nights and seemingly endless weekends working on. We loved it and we hated it, and our only dream for it was that it wouldn't run the company out of business. But Gary and I started to are in the dungeon with the key. There's really nothing you can do at that point. You're pretty much screwed. And there are countless other examples of this. And it's not that we were trying to be cruel or vindictive. It's just that we were naive. And it was so easy to wire up possibilities. We didn't really think about all the implications of this. Now, the worst part of the dead ends is you don't know you screwed up. You'll happily play on until you just can't make any progress anymore. Now, some of that was just accepted gameplay back then, just using the save game almost as a gameplay mechanic. But today, a lot of this would have been caught by tests. But other than myself, David, and Gary, there was only one other full-time member of the Maniac Mansion team. He was the only tester in Lucasfilm Games. And he sat in this back room, and he played Maniac Mansion all day long. We had no bug database. We would just jot notes down on a piece of paper and then give them to David, Gary, and I to fix. We had no regression testing. We had no focus testing. We had no test plan. So other than David and Gary and I playing the game, that was the extent of all of the testing we had, which I think is pretty amazing considering the complexity of the game and all the permutations with the 7 characters. And I think other than the dead ends, I think it all worked out. There were no major bugs found in the game. And this was long before the days of being able to use paying customers as beta testers and just patch the game after the fact. So we're getting to the end of the project. Lucasfilm was responsible not only for the game, but also the box and the marketing. To platforms that we didn't even know existed or even would exist. And all of this while running the exact same code that the originals did. Now, Maniac Mansion was the first game to use the Scum engine, but it was far from the given to any director, and that director knows how to go make the movie. But we don't have a standardized format for anything. And it's very, very hard. When you hire new people, they have to relearn how you do design documents versus how the last place you worked in design documents.
Interesting issue. We can really deepen that, should deepen that in the workshop once here. Okay, there are questions up there.
Okay, me first. Thank you, Ron, for this great insight. I would like to have you comment upon the relation between creativity and technology. So if you think backwards, whether the development of the Scum system has a deep impact on your creativity, and whether there will be a way back in a future day we might have a smart tool that might enable persons who are not deep programmers just to come up with something or with a development process similar to that in the old days.
Yeah, I think that technology today is very, very linked to games. And I'm a programmer, that's my background. So when I start thinking about a game, I will just go program up a prototype very, very quickly to get a feel for it. And I think there will become a point when technology is, I don't want to say irrelevant, but it is just ubiquitous. It's like every company uses the same technology and people can move from company to company, very, very much like the movie businesses. When somebody goes from working on one movie to go working on another, they don't have to relearn everything. They don't have to learn how these cameras work and what kind of film this company is using. And the gaming business will eventually get to that point. I don't know if it'll be 10 years or 20 years, but eventually we'll get there. And then I think you'll see that the creativity will really drive things a lot more than the technology does today. Put the chainsaw in the Maniac Mansion kitchen just as a gag, because that would be funny. You go in the kitchen, there were knives hanging above the sink, and then a chainsaw. But we didn't really want you to use the chainsaw, because we didn't really know how you would use it anyway. So we just put it in there, and there was just a joke that there was this chainsaw that if you tried to use it, it said it was out of gas. And there was no gas in the game to find. And then when David Foxwind did Zack McCracken, he put a can of gas in Zack McCracken, but no chainsaw. So it was just this little gag to tie the whole thing together. Okay, thanks.
Did Lucasfilm learn something from that game, technical-wise, or for the content, or for the gameplay, or was it just a totally different game?
Well, you know, I don't know. They've done it previously, but I really wasn't involved in that project at all. So it was just kind of something that was going on tangentially. They had done some stuff with, I think, a first step into that point and click, and they had a list of verbs, but I believe they were on a wheel that you would go through. So I think Labyrinth was like a stepping stone, you know, from the just pure text adventures with some graphics to what Maniac Mansion finally was.
If there are no more questions, Sebastian had a last question.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Ron. Funny thing, I asked you that last night about the chainsaw, remember?
Did I give you the same answer?
Yeah, you did.
I don't know how much I did.
No, you're right. Ron, allow me one question. What comes up for you next? What you're going to do in the future? What's about Deathbank? Can you just tell us in a few sentences what you
yeah, I just got done with a game called Deathbank, which was released summer on PSN and XBLA, which is kind of a combination of, you know, an adventure game like Monkey Island with an action RPG like Diablo. And now I'm working for Double Flying Productions with Tim Schafer, and I have a new game there that I'm currently working on, but we're not really talking about it yet. So.
Okay, will there be Brutal Legends 2 in the future?
I don't know.
Okay. Thank you very much, Ron.
All right, thank you.